most important part has now been disclosed. This is CommenterNation, rocking with your boy CzxxTentacion, all rights reserved. CzxxTentacion and CommenterNation, get used to that name. CzxxTentacion and CommenterNation on the rise. First off, I want to give honorable mentions to Betty Simmons, who did send me some pictures pertaining to the manager, as well as S Money, who sent pictures pertaining to the manager. I will admit M. Bukhari was the one, Bad Body Bukhari was the one who questioned me about it. But understand, peaceful attorney is the confirmation in between understanding different things. That is why this is her video. I respect all the details on the side, and you'll see how that plays into it. But peaceful attorney is the cosign and basically the mind on the field that had gave me my final confirmation to what I was sent. But let's discuss this. Peaceful attorney back with another one. Shout to CommenterNation, we're turning up. Listen to me. Now, allegedly, I got to keep it real with y'all. Allegedly, part of the reasoning behind what it is that is dictating him as a person of interest is some type of relative relation into people who are involved. So it is a lawyer's client or one of his clients that are involved in a situation, or some type of service to a suspect in the midst of this situation. So they're declaring that they may have allegedly found evidence that ties him to this case. Remember when we talked about a mastermind and we said, how did they know to show up? What was the contact? Do you believe that this could answer that question? That is part of the understanding by what is being relayed to me. Again, I take my time to look at that. You know, I got to get a fresh cut. I go and get my fresh cut and I'm back with y'all. But here's my thing. What is going on with this? What is dictating him as being executive in this situation, directed to this situation as being an affluent party and causing the demise of this young man? That's all what's important. But understand that they're finding some deeper implication of a suspect being allegedly a client or some type of connection between him and someone arrested. Now, are we looking at the fact? Remember, we wanted to know what? How did Trayvon Newsom get a lawyer up front? Not that he couldn't have had the money, but do you believe he allegedly had someone reaching out to assist him? When Robert Allen said he wanted to tell the truth of the matter, there was stuff people didn't know. Could this have been an indication of what he did? Michael Boatwright, as we know, has a case for his mental competency coming up once again. It's nothing direct, nothing excluding him or diluting a situation of him being affluent to being a factor, but they're just testing his competency as he went. Remember, I told you, this could be a good or a bad thing. It still can, because it depends how he was affected, whether they truly did find evidence where they say they did, and how it relates to DNA evidence. Why did they proclaim that they wanted the evidence so late? There are also many factors on their side that bring up very concerning matters, but understand, it's all going to play a point to some type of outcome and conclusion that leads to some suspect or someone directly being involved in the situation. There is an alleged arrest of a fifth man, as well as now persons of interest include what? How did I tell y'all to say it? Wolves. There was wolves around the top dog. Remember, even though we did not have the details, we already set the foundation to understand this. That was CommenterNation's interaction with CzxxTentacion. And I'm grateful for all of y'all and continue to do so. Matter of fact, if you do that, step your game up. Go harder, okay? So that we can truly understand this. Because remember, what did I objectively say? Do not call suspects guilty without guilty being brought forth with evidence. If there's a fifth man, could the fifth man had interaction with someone else and they appeared on the scene doing something they knew nothing of them doing, or nothing that they were going to be directly active in? We don't know the details. Understand that. There's still so many questions, but we see that there are other individuals being brought in that could add to the factor of understanding how these suspects weren't directly affluent. Remember, they ran off and chased black men down. We still have a Caucasian witness denying being there after he brought it to social media gain followers, gain clout, gain respects, whatever he thought he was doing, gain popularity, however he wants to describe it. Think of it. There's many more factors to be discussed. But again, what was the connection? Was there a phone call? Was the connection knowing what was going on? Was it a premeditated connection? Because we seen that allegedly Diedrich's girlfriend claims he spoke to her about something similar of this going on, which we do not know to be true because it's her word against his. Understand, this man wanted a PI to get involved, and tomorrow we're going to bring that up and talk about it. He wanted a PI involved to basically investigate the details of the case. Is this normal for people's remorse during a murder? It's not. And we can allege that Tentacion spoke of him highly because he proclaimed an alleged very talented tattoo artist that also tattooed another superstar that was part of his team. Hold on, let's go. Okay, I don't know who that is though. But this is very important. Get how we're moving. Get how quickly it's moving uphill. Now, this is an uphill battle because law enforcement also have been affluent to the situation. When we talk about managers, we talk about major connections, major people that they have helped make money. When you help people make money, they feel indebted to you sometimes. Could he had blackmailed allegedly or put someone in a situation they didn't want to be? Is that why it's concluding this way as we see different evidence rolling out? Also, to give some respects to the investigators that watched this, could they have paused the brakes on the bill of information because they did think something else was going on? Or they had word that there was someone else in the convo dealing with the situation that was pursuant and issuing these suspects to a certain location. Remember, we didn't have phones checked. We don't even know about Tentacion's phone, his last calls, toxicology, autopsy. There's many different things that have not made sense. And as we know, the wolves around the top dog will eat each other to basically gain the upper hand and power if they must. Dogs stick together. Wolves will go to war and sacrifice one for the betterment of all. That's what we got to look at. And I perceive a wolf situation coming forward. Now, I'd rather it come through on the law enforcement end of them showing that deceit because of what a law enforcement agent is supposed to do rather than each other. But that's just my personal opinion, because you can't have dirty cops sticking cases on people with assumed evidence, presumed evidence, falsified evidence, construed evidence that's not declarative in any way, shape, or manner. That is a bad, let's say, aura for any type of situation. That's what's important to keep in mind. But we do know these two factors. So now, how did these situations affect the outcome of this, of what we know to be a legend that's now lost, a legend of his generation, leaving a legacy? How will that affect the whole situation? Now, this is very important because we know that from the very beginning, masterminds meant more than one. So if we're looking at a manager, who else would the manager give up to show that his mind only was not mentioned? We already went through details of him, details of other individuals, producers. Was there other people, producer level, executive producer, editorial level, that were involved in this to lengthen their money and to get some type of gratification out of this situation of a deceased superstar? This is very important because we know this to be the very essence of most situations dealing with superstars that are priced in the millions. We're talking about $1 million men. $1 million men being preyed on by those who they entrust things to. Is this the type of situation we're allegedly dealing with now that he's a point of interest, a person's of interest? Is he going to give up more persons of interest? We just seen this man on the stage with them accepting the award. When we talked about body language, it was his body language that I allege looked very awkward, standing there with the award, even with the picture. So what are we really looking forward to? What's the situation? What's the catch? What's the catch in this situation? We have $1 million man that's now deceased allegedly, and then we have suspects that are being held to indictment that are fighting for their freedom. that we now see a fifth man has surfaced and a point of interest is now in view. What is this going on? And what questions exactly are they going to ask him? You see, that's key. Bad questions will lead to a bad result. It's very essential. It's very crucial that the right questions about the right things are asked in the right format for the right outcome of information that's required for them to, without a doubt, conclude involvement by certain parties. If this is not concluded, there is no way to hold anyone to any type of evidence. And best believe they will subpoena anyone who has given them information to lead to catching these people. That is the way it works. You will be subpoenaed. It doesn't matter if you were a viewer. It doesn't matter if you asked not to. It doesn't matter if they say we won't have them in there to see you, but you'll be in there and it'll be on paper so people will know. So who has made the decision to step up and say, I'm going to say this? Or do we have investigators that have upped their tact, became very skilled, have honed their talents, and have conclusively found a fifth man? This is very important because the way this unrolls will change the future of this entire case. The way people are viewed, the way that they actually produce the evidence, the way that they conclude without a doubt that this man was involved some way, shape, or form. How are we going to get it delivered to us? How are we going to understand it? But the evidence is concluding that there is some connection between this manager and an alleged suspect of some sort, or an alleged client he has had in the past. So could it not be a suspect, but they're actually talking about a sixth man that they're holding off on to speak about until they actually get some information they're looking for from this manager? That is another tact that would be very surprising to see them utilize. Understand that. That's why I said we're looking at this thing all wrong. We need to stay objective because we don't know the way it's unrolling. The fact they called the manager in, that's an ace card. That's a catch. Most people didn't see that coming. Some of you did. Some of you did mention it. And as I did before, I gave the credit. Also, Brooklyn K sending me information. Sue C sending me information. I have Chris A sending me very important information we're going to talk about tomorrow. And I want to ask y'all by concluding this. Did Ari have a point? Was Ari seeing the big picture when people weren't? And it's no diss to Cleo. But did she see something else that Cleo did not see? And she reached to try to tell her, but their falling out caused that to not let them to get the information together. And again, I told you, we're not going to badmouth the family. But did she say it and deliver it in a wrong way that caused the falling out? We'll find out. We'll do some more understanding. But you know how I rock. All rights reserved.